Right. Um, Hi everyone. We are live for today's onboarding call. Just give me a few minutes, and I am going to share my screen. Um, okay, just a minute, please. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh my God. I'm really sorry about that. Network kicked me out. So I'm just going to try this one more time. Share my screen, and we'll get started. All right. So I guess we can all see my screen now. So first of all, welcome to HERtoberfest, and this is an hackathon by Made in Nigeria in partnership with She Africa, and let's just get started, right? Okay, again, like I said, this is a collaboration between She Africa and Made in Nigeria um, to empower Nigerian women, in being creators and contributors of open source technologies and softwares. And I mean, not just creating, not just contributing, but also like owning their own projects in the space as well. So yeah, meet the team. My name is Mary Blessing Okoli, and I'm the project manager for this project. And there is also Oyemowo. She is a program admin, and also Precious. She's also a program admin for this project. Precious Mo, do you want to say hi briefly? Precious, are you there? Okay. You can also say hi in the chat. That's totally fine as well, right? Okay. Mo, are you able to speak?
Yes. Can you
All
hear
right.
me?
Absolutely.
All right. Good day, everyone. My name is Onyomo, like she said, Akupo. I am a front-end developer, and for this program, I'm going to be the project admin to help facilitate the process and ensure that everyone gets the best of this program. And I'm excited to be here and excited to be here.
Awesome, amazing. And Precious Okafor is also a project admin, like I had mentioned, and she will be working alongside Mo to, support every participant of this hackathon. Any questions you have, you can ask either of us. You can find myself on LinkedIn as May Blessing Okoli, Precious as Oyemo Akubo, and Mo as Oyemo Akubo, and Precious Okafor as Precious Okafor on LinkedIn as well. All right, so we have a special guest in our midst as well, in the person of Adewale. And Adewale, aka Ace, is the founder of Made in Nigeria, the sponsor for this hackathon. And also, he's a senior developer advocate and also a web engineer. Hi, Ace. Do you want to briefly say hi to everyone?
Yeah, hello everyone. Glad to be here. Glad to see everyone in the audience as well. Thank you for having me.
All right, awesome. So yeah, so we'll just be going right into why we're here today. We have a very short agenda just to give you a general overview of what this program is about. Um, some expectations, some things you should really be aware of, criteria for participating, and a few other things. So, about the HERtoberfest program, it's a Made in Nigeria Open-Source Hackathon in partnership with Chicode Africa, aimed at empowering Nigerian women to become leaders in the open source community. This hackathon will focus on creating, contributing to, and owning open source projects. Right? It's hosted by our humble self, Chicode Africa, and it's been sponsored by Made in Nigeria. So I want to quickly hand over to Adewale to quickly, touch on some of the hackathon essentials. What really is open source? How can you form your team? For this hackathon, and tips for effective communication, collaboration. Just coming up with ideas and other things you would like to also let us know um, ahead of this hackathon. Hi, Adewale.
All right. So yeah, once again, welcome everyone. Hello. Glad to be here. The whole purpose of this hackathon is to be able to get projects that are, globally relevant, and it's a hackathon, which means you are on limited time. So for more often than not, you are not expected to, have everything figured out. But yeah, the hackathon essentials is the first thing is what is open source. For those of us that might be new to open source, it's essentially, software that is where the source code is available to be, used online based on a specific license or the other. Um, if you think open source, you find projects like Linux, like VLC itself actually is open source. Also, the technologies that we use like React, Vue, all of those things are open source. So the one of the goals of this hackathon is to be able to empower members of this community to build projects like this that are not only relevant to the immediate, Nigerian environment, but also can be used globally. Which kind of takes me back to the founding of Made in Nigeria itself. So for context, what is Made in Nigeria? Made in Nigeria is actually an open source repository which was used to create projects that were created by software developers out of Nigeria. So you'll find projects like Chakra UI. I don't know if anyone in the audience has heard of Chakra UI. This is like an example of a project that was built by a Nigerian, but used by people all over the world. We have other projects like Alex that does some accessibility stuff. This cuts across languages, Python, React, JavaScript, PHP, or the likes, right? All these projects are themed towards solving global problems that people from all corners of the world are using. So if you go to Made in Nigeria as a dev right now, you would see, I don't know if I can share my screen for that, just to provide additional context. One sec.
Yeah, Adewale, you should be able to share your screen. Let me know if you need any additional
Yeah,
permission. Okay.
I just did.
All right.
Yeah, so let me zoom in for that a little bit. So yeah, Made in Nigeria is just a bunch of projects like this that also not only highlights this project but tries to tell stories of these open source developers. So you can go to madeinnigeria.dev and you'll be able to find out more context about this. So if you go to projects, for example, you'll find different kind of projects from Adonis to Angular stuff. We have different creators like Ire, Mozart, like just different people, Unicode developer, private runners, Prosper, building Laravel solutions and the likes, and also highlighting who these creators are, so you can figure out and learn what their open source journey has been from learning also up to this point. So what we're trying to do or accomplish with this entire thing is to make sure that it's possible for members of this community as well to actually have their projects be of global relevance and can also be added to this platform, right? So back to the essentials, if I may. Can you switch back to that slide, please? Yes. So once you understand this, if you go to the website, you would see some of the projects that you can check out for ideas. But that essentially describe what open source is. So you can start building a solution today. It could be a library, it could be a website, it could be a what's it called? A framework or any kind of solution that people can contribute to, that's readily available to like anyone all over the world, and people can start to use based on the license, right? That is what open source is. So for the next item, which is how to form your team, you have complete liberal activity or action to be able to form the team however you want to. Mostly people start building by themselves off of an idea and they think, oh, um, I can work with someone on this. I can collaborate with somebody else. I can just start building this thing out by myself. So that is like totally left to members of community to decide how they want to proceed. Um, and that would also boil down to the effective communication and collaboration. So you want to pick people in your team that you can, you've probably have experience working with, or you guys have a relationship that you can build on, and you can, cover as much ground as possible over the next couple of days or weeks that the hackathon is going for. Um, so that is an essential part to just getting ready to understanding what you need to do for the hackathon. If you go through some of the projects on the website, thank you, Precious, for sharing. You would find you could get some ideas off of it. But one of the recommendations I usually give people, especially people that want to get into open source for the first time, would be try and target projects in the space that you're currently working in. So let's say, for example, you're a Vue developer. You could come up with a solution that kind of applies to kind of technology that you do. It could be something that you need. It could be something that you wish existed and is relevant for anybody all over the world that uses Vue. That is like an example of a project that you can start to develop. It could be something else in that language and that framework. It could be something that solves a specific problem itself. So that is generally what would be my recommendation for getting into open source. So if you're coming at hackathon ideas like this, being able to come up with an idea that solves a problem for you or for somebody else is like always a good starting point, because then it kind of has a much higher chance of viability and stuff like that. So if all of this is not gibberish, hopefully it isn't. For you to effectively contribute to open source, then you most likely need to know about Git and version control. I don't think we are covering that in the scope of this session. So that's something that you're not familiar with yet, I would recommend go online. You can go to github.com/open source or just Google it. You'll find a lot of resources that will just get you familiar with version control itself. So, if anyone has any questions on what these essentials are or how they feel like they could get started bidding for stuff like this, please feel free to drop your comments, and I would myself and we're blessing also try our best to provide answers. You're
Oh,
muted.
sorry, my mic was muted. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Adewale. And we have a Q&A session just before we wrap up the call. So please jot down your questions, right, and we'll get right to it shortly. All right. So on hackathon goals and expectations, so I'll start with the hackathon goals. For us, um, the goals for us for this hackathon is first of all to empower Nigerian women, to be active contributors and builders in open source. Also increase the female participation in open source projects. Right. I feel like generally, to be honest, women, the ratio of women to men in the tech ecosystem at large is like um, it's like very, I don't know, the margin is too much. So we want to be able to use this particular project to help bridge that gap as well, but specifically in the open source ecosystem, right? And also grow the open source community here in Nigeria, right? So yeah, this is very simple for us, and we are very excited that you are here with us to help us achieve these goals, right? Yeah. So the expectation, really, we do not have much. I like to say, just come with an open mind to learn, be curious, and ask plenty of questions. We hope that with this hackathon, you have experience, like really solid experience. So we need you to have an open mind and ask questions when and when necessary, right? You collaborate amongst yourself, really. Have fun reaching out to people to join your team and build amazing stuff. And also, learn so much and do not hold back, really. Our hope is that you grab as much as you can, and in the future, you can say, because I participated in this, I was able to like achieve XYZ. Um, and also have so much fun while at it. And another thing would be that all projects should adhere to open source principles such as the licensing. Your project should have a license, code of conduct, transparency, etc., etc. Would be talking more on this in the Slack channel that we have for communications, and we also have a few webinars coming up that will touch on some of these things. So be on the lookout. Then, lastly, one of our expectations from you is that your project is globally relevant. Adewale had mentioned this, right? That is something we want, that your project is not just used within Nigeria, but also can be used by everyone and anyone out there. Um, yeah, so we also would like to touch on the finalist criteria. So first of all, we registered for this, to show interest, and we're onboarded onto Slack, right? And you see that we did not collect so many details, right? But it gets to the point where we'll be requesting that you start submitting the projects, would I say MVPs that you have, right? And we'll be able to like you know go through this via some processes that we have set out before we can now say, oh, you are eligible to move on to becoming a finalist in this particular hackathon, right? So this is just a quick breakdown, right? So Hacker as you, we publish your OSS projects repos on GitHub, ensuring they are as detailed as possible. We'll be sharing a form with all participants, and everyone will submit the links to their public repo to the team to confirm validity, right? Repo must include detailed documentation of the project. It has to be properly documented, right? What's the project about? and every other details regarding that particular project that you have built, right? And even down to how people can even start contributing, or join your team to contribute, or rather, come in as contributors, volunteers to push the work forward. Then there's also going to be a public voting. So public voting will be conducted, and the way we are going to, the way we are going to like decide, okay, which project moves to the final stage is that the public would vote for a project via starring it on GitHub, right? So we're all familiar with GitHub, and how projects are starred on there, right? So projects, the top 30 projects with the highest number of GitHub stars get to move into the final stage. So as of this call, we are over 300 women participating in this hackathon, right? We're over 300 women, and it's quite a competition. So we'll be moving 30 of those projects, 30 of your awesome ideas to the final stage, right? But we'll be sharing more about this process with everyone on Slack, right? Um, so even now I mentioned Slack, I know some of us were saying we did not get invites. I got some emails. So there's a possibility that you're already a member of the community, which is why the invites won't go through. So what I will encourage is that you just search for the hackathon channel, which is HERtoberfest 2024, right? When you search for it, then you can just by yourself join the channel, right? So, but people getting invites are probably people who like are not already member of the She Could Africa community. But yeah, everyone is welcome to join us. You can fill out the form. So back to this. So judging criteria. So this is just a high level overview, right? The judges are also going to come on board, and if anything changes, really, we'll keep updating everyone. But like I said, this is a high level overview, and one of the things or some of the things the judges would use to like determine, oh, okay, which project now moves to wins the hackathon, who comes as the first runner up, second runner up, is first of all we're looking at innovation and creativity, um, the technical implementation of that project, um, the global impact. Remember, we said that it should be globally relevant and not just something that only the Nigerian individuals can consume or use, right? Then the sustainability and the future potential of that particular project, right? This is just a high level summary of what the criteria for judging looks like. But like I said, if anything changes, we'll definitely communicate this to you as we move on.
Yeah. Just to add to that, I also see a couple of questions in chat. The way open
Okay.
source works is anyone can start building a project by themselves. So ideally, minimum person that for a team could be just one person. If you have an idea, you can start building stuff by yourself. And open source actually opens your project up to like multiple people to contribute when you push it online and stuff like that. So it could end up being like multiple contributors. For example, the Made in Nigeria project itself has about, I don't know, from 100 to 200 contributors at the end of the day. But for this hackathon, I would recommend if have a large team or whatever, probably keep it within. There's no limitation, so it can be one to infinity in quotes. But I would recommend not having more than 3 people, just so you can move as quickly as you can. You can have a designer on your team if you want. You can have a data analyst. It depends on the solution that you want to build, right? So to also answer that question in chat, it could be a tech, it could be a framework, it could be anything, to be honest, as long as it's open source, as long as it's something that is globally relevant, that can be used either as a library. Like, I mean, if you go to github.com now, you find all types of projects on there, from Laravel, which is like a framework, to, even LLMs, which is like the new AI thing and and all those things. So the potential is limitless. Which is also why we're running this hackathon, for people like yourselves to be able to see what's possible and also push yourself to try to build solutions like this. and come up with some of these ideas. So um, can we use an existing project or a new project? As long as you have additions within this period of Oktoberfest, considerable addition, that would be considered. I think submissions, as long as, like I said, as long as the submissions are open source and are globally relevant, if it's a website that does something that people can use and is open source, I guess that applies. That will be left up to the judging and the judges as well. If it's a library, if it's a technology, if it's a framework, whatever the case is, the major thing I just want people to, can you go back to the last slide, please? It's just the four things that were listed, and they will be judged based on that, and everyone would get feedback on all of those things. So it's a very open ended project. It's more about what problem can you solve, and how far you can go with solving it, basically. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. So I think though that's already mentioned, but I wanted to just quickly say that your project can be about anything really, but it must be globally relevant. Can be used by anyone all over the world. And like I mentioned, libraries, extension tools, website, whatever it is really, so far as it follows the open source guidelines, right, and practices, right, and yeah, and it's globally relevant. We're really good to go. All right. So right about now, I'm going to hand over to Mo to quickly talk to us about what these what you should expect at the duration of this project. Hi Mo.
Hi. Awesome to have everyone here. Awesome to have everyone here. And I can see the excitement. I can see the questions in the comment section, and that is awesome. That's what we're looking to get. Um, so just like everyone has said, this hackathon is about empower women to create, contribute to open source projects. You'll be working on teams, collaborating, and developing projects that would have real impact. All right. So we're getting started with the onboarding event, which is what we're doing currently. And this is our official onboarding into the hackathon. And we've walked you through everything that we're going to be working on and how the hackathon is going to progress, right? Um, if you, like Mary Blessing said, we should have sent most people Slack invites, but if you have not gotten, you can just indicate and then we would send them out. But I know that most people have gotten it. If you have not gotten it and you are in the community, you can just join the channel, which is HERtoberfest 2024. All right. So while you're here and from everything you've heard already, you can start, tinkering, forming a team or thinking about, the project you want to work on. Because, open source is all about collaboration. So the fun is in collaborating. So it would really be nice for you to join a team. And for those people that don't have any idea, look for people that already have an idea, join their team and create something exceptional. All right. Throughout the course of the hackathon, we're going to be having webinar sessions. I know one is coming up. We're planning for one next week or in 2 weeks' time to talk about open source licensing, which is very important when you're working on an open source project. We're also going to be having another webinar session for finalists, more like a workshop for finalists as well. And yeah, program admins are going to be checking in on you every other day just to make sure that, everything is on track, you know, um, and to help you stay focused, right? To make sure that everything is progressing as it should, and to give you support whenever you have challenges. So if you have any challenge throughout the period of the hackathon, please um, put it on the Slack channel so that we can help you get through it as soon as possible. Okay. In order to make it to the final stage, you do know you have to reach for the stars, literally GitHub stars. You have to reach for the stars. You have to be able to promote your project. You have to, ensure that your documentation is tight so that people can understand. Because to move to the finalist stage, I think it goes through a community voting, a public voting. So it's from your documentation, people would get to star your project as, something that is impactful and something that they would like to see, or a project they would like to associate themselves with. So ensure that your documentation is tight in order to move to that stage. So we'll be doing weekly check-ins to ensure that you make the most out of this hackathon. And yeah, like I said earlier, there's going to be a workshop once your project is selected among the finalists. We'll have a workshop for you, advanced ways in which you can get your open source project to actually win the hackathon. All right. Now to my favorite part, which is prizes and fun. The fun is in the collaborating. Okay. It's in the collaborating, it's in the ranting. Don't rant too much, but it's in the ranting. If you're finding something difficult, you can just, voice it out so that if any other person is going through that same problem, they are going to get the help that they need. Cash prizes are there to be won. We have gift vouchers, and even though it's not added here, there is bragging rights. And what are these bragging rights? Yes, I participated in an open source hackathon, and my project was among the final project. I made it to the final stage. I won this hackathon. Yeah, those are the bragging rights you're going to have up until next year. I guess if we have another one next year and somebody, overthrows you. All right. And we're going to have lots of fun. Like I said, the fun is in the collaborating. Okay. There's also going to be mentorship and ecosystem from ecosystem experts. This would be is also part of what you get when you win the project, when your project is among the ones that are selected to win. So the idea is for you to put your best foot forward. It's a short period of time, so nobody is expecting you to build something that is going to revolutionize the industry tomorrow. But yeah, it should have the potential to do that. So those are some of the things that you're going to be expecting from this hackathon. If you're new to open source, if you're not new, if you're new to tech, or you are just trying to get your foot through the door, this is an opportunity for you. So we are here to support you in every way possible. All right, every way possible. So yeah, those are the things I should expect, and I hope to see all of you soon. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mo, for that. That was really, really awesome. Thank you so, so much. All right, so let's move on. Yeah, Q&A. So yeah, that's the next part, Q&A. And I'm just going to bring Adewale up back on stage so that we can all tackle questions from participants together. Great. So question time. I'm going to be looking through the comments to see. I know Adewale had answered some of the questions, which is good. So we'd touch on a few others before we call it a wrap. So yeah. Okay, so I see one saying, so please, if I get to miss any questions, someone can draw my attention to it, or you can also reshare in the comments so that it comes to the top and I can easily see it. So I see someone saying they did not get an email to join Slack. As mentioned earlier, really, we sent out emails to most participants, except we just registered now. But otherwise, almost everyone has gotten an email, and you're being invited on Slack as a guest. So, which means that you might not really have access to every other part of the workspace, right? Just a channel, right? So, and if you did not get that invite, there's a possibility that you either submitted a wrong email, or you're already a member of the community, and we can't send you an invite because you're already in the community. So what you just need to do is join the channel in the community that you're already a part of. Make sense? Great. So can this information shared be included in the doc, please? We'll have most of it on the project brief, the document, right? But yes, this is being recorded and be made available for everyone to, go watch the recap if you wanted to. All right. Okay. Can we use an existing project or a new project? To be honest, any project that is submitted and has been completed prior to when the hackathon starts, which is tomorrow, will be automatically disqualified, right? So the project has to be within the period of the hackathon. Make sense? Great. Um, all right. So I think those are most of your questions. I don't know if I missed any. Mo, do you think I missed any? Um,
People keep asking how they can form teams. I think maybe asking, or for those that want to form teams anyway, maybe speaking in the channel, you could ask each other and then form teams together in that regard if you want to form teams.
Absolutely. So you can, if you check the project brief, we answered that question briefly, which is if you can form teams with your friend, please by all means form teams with your friends, right, and your loved ones, right. But just make sure that everyone is registered, because there's no way we can verify that you're part of the hackathon if you're not registered, right. An alternative is go on Slack on the channel, ask people, oh, who is um who is up to form a team with me, and get talking and start teaming up to, you know, work on your groundbreaking ideas, right? Yeah. So we've answered that.
There's a question about someone confused where to start with open source. Say, I am always confused where to start open source. Nobody for my program task, but open source project seems confusing. To just provide context for anyone that this might apply to, in the grand scheme of things, open source projects are essentially like any other project. The only difference is that they've been pushed online and other people they can see the code. With your permission, they can duplicate it. This is called a fork, and they can work on it on their end. They can send updates into it, which is done through a pull request and stuff like that. So it's essentially saying, I build a solution, but it's open to the whole world or anybody at all to either use or to make updates, comment on any of those things, right? So that's essentially the basic foundation of what open source is. So, for example, if anyone is a web developer, if you're building, say, Vue, you find people that Vue is already online there. Anyone can take it, anyone can use it. But you yourself, as a person, you can actually go back there and be like, oh, the way Vue does this is not good enough. I can improve it. Those are the things that open source enables. So, from a practical perspective of answering that question, if you build your project, whether you start building locally and it's working, isn't what you want it to do, all you will need to do is to push it to GitHub, for example. This is done through version control. If you don't know much about version control, you can make a search online to learn about Git, which is Git. Once you push that online, you can share the link, or someone that is interested in that space can also find it, and it's just there. It's available. There's a license on it, and that is essentially you making a project open source. Because if it's actually taking it from your laptop or any closed environment and you're making it open to the world. So I would recommend not overthinking it, because it's that simple. You take your project and you make it open, so to say. So I hope that answers that question and any other question that is related to that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Adewale.
Another question says the criteria for selection are a bit vague. Should priority be placed on user experience or code quality? Is a UI required? Um, the To answer this in a separate way than what we've said earlier, the most important part of the project is the fact that you're building a solution that works, first of all. Whatever is meant to do, if it requires UI or if it needs the experience to be good, um, I don't. Will probably not necessarily take code quality judgments so seriously. It's probably one of the lower priority things. But if you say you want to do something that does one thing, you need to make sure that the project is doing that thing, and that's the first part. So it needs to do what you say it's going to do. Then the second part is the fact that it has to be globally relevant. Right. It has to be globally relevant. So if you're building something, it needs to be applied to anywhere in the world, if you get what I mean. So you're not just building a local or how to find my what's it called, my Lagos address kind of project, but more like, oh, this is how you can do something in JavaScript or in Java or in those kind of things, right? Those things apply to the world and anyone can use it. It could be a UI library that you're building. It could be, um, I don't know. There's just so much potential, right? And ideation is also part of the process. But I just wanted to clarify, like, the priority is on two things for a start. Of course, aside from the fact that it's open source, but the priority is on two things: the fact that whatever your idea is, what you build works and is doing what you say it wants to do, or at least maybe an MVP of it. And then the second part is that your idea and the solution that you provided is globally relevant, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Adewale, for answering that. So someone is Clementina is asking, can we have a guided team member? No. Is that straightforward? No. So this is for females. This is for women, Nigerian women, please. So no, we can't. Thank you. Um, Melody is asking, my question will be to have a team across different tracks like PM products. New to hackathons. What should the team look like? I think, do you want to take this?
There's no restriction on what your team should look like. Like I said, once again, whatever your application requires. So if your solution requires you to have a designer, or if you work best with one of your team members, being the manager, the product manager that cannot coordinate you guys, there is no restriction. Minimum is one, because one person can decide to start building. And my own recommendation is to try not to be more than three, but there's also no limitation. If you guys can be 6, 7, and you're able to build your application with collaboration and swift communication, that's good work. So there's no limitation with that. And no one is, there's no restriction to how you can distribute your team, if that makes sense. The goal is very focused on making sure that the solution that you build works and is also globally relevant. So anything you need to do to get to that point, as somebody said in the audience, women only at HERtoberfest, then that applies, if that makes sense.
All right, great, great. So we heard that women only. So and really no restriction as to how your team should look, right? Yeah. So minimum one, max. I think we should wake up 7 really. But yeah, 1 to 3 is really recommended. Okay, so we'll take one more question, then we'll call it a wrap. We are almost at the end of the hour. Any more question? Any more question? So Cynthia, you said you didn't get an invite to Slack, but Discord. I'm very sorry, but you might be missing up another hackathon with what we're doing here, because we are only Slack is our primary medium for communication. So if you're getting a Discord link, invitation, then you probably want to like cross check to see if some other community, organizing something similar. Yeah, so Slack, emails are our primary medium for communication. Whew. All right, so I think that would be it. Great. All right. So,
Yeah, thanks everyone, and thank you as well, Mary. Blessing. Sorry for
yeah,
interrupting.
thank you so much. Thanks so much, Adewale. So, ladies, hackathon starts 12 a.m. tomorrow. That's literally like midnight our time, as usual, right? And we're still onboarding participants up until 7th. That will be Monday. So, please go ahead and share the registration link with your Nigerian female friend up until Monday. So, we can always share the recap of this with them if they join in. So yeah, and happy hacking. So thanks ladies, thanks everyone, thank you Mo, thank you to our tech queen Precious, who her mic could not allow us speak, and thank you so much to Adewale and to shout out to Made in Nigeria for sponsoring this. Right, so ladies, I will see you all on Slack. And thanks again, and do have a good rest of the day. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye, everyone.